Hey everyone, it's Paul with another YouTube video, and I am super stoked today for today's video because it is on a topic and subject that is near and dear to my heart. Yep, all the way to the moon. See, near and dear to my heart. Some people think it was funny, but all right. Actual topic of today's video. Oh, wrong piece of paper here. I'm terrible at art. I just want to disclose that I used to fail art in school. So I would try to draw a rocket, but the best I could really do were these arrows. But those are supposed to mean three moonshots. So 3 to the moon stocks. That is the subject of today's video. All right. 3 incredible, phenomenal, astonishing to the moon stocks. All right. No joke, folks. No joke. Really small, really risky, but astonishing, phenomenal, absolutely incredible companies. All right. This is going to be an incredible video, so stay tuned. All right. Before I do that, I do the usual disclaimer, which is that these videos are not investment advice. We have not considered your risk profile, assets, age, income, any of these things. They are information, engagement, opinion, entertainment for a number of people who think I'm hilarious. Past performance is not equal to future results. Hey, I'm human. Our team at ATG Digital, also human. We make errors, we make mistakes, there are oversights in some of the content that we provide you. Capital loss is a likely outcome. There is risk in markets, folks, in any investment operation, trading, speculation, actual long-term investment. Capital loss is a likely outcome. I, the owners, contractors, employees, associates of ATG Digital Media, which is my company, own, trade, transact in the investments that are mentioned in these videos, or truthfully in any of the content that I put out on Twitter, Substack, subscriptions. All right. So why talk about this subject right now? Talk about small caps. Well, hey, you probably will have noticed that small cap stocks, you might own some of these, are at a huge, massive low. Now you're experiencing them as like, oh my God, I own the stock and it keeps hitting lows. I mean, I've gotten some tweets from people, but the truth is that they're just being sold en masse by big money investors that pursue asset allocation strategies, long short strategies, pair trading, all of these things where they just treat groups of stocks like they're big baskets of stocks, and they buy and sell them, and it has huge impact on individual stock prices that they, for the most part, don't care about. All they care is about the asset's performance. But for us, folks that like to actually bet on companies, actually bet on technologies, actually bet on products and services, this matters. So based on that tweet and based on my experience in the markets, usually when you get to that level of sort of imbalance, I mean, we're back to March to 2020, that's where the lows are. But really, if you zoom out, these lows are like, go out even longer. It's like 10-year lows. So it tells me that we are setting up for a huge, massive rebound in small cap stocks, right? Because the money is flooded out. It's cleared all the weak hands that don't want to own it. The big money no longer owns it because they've been selling it. And oftentimes what I have seen is that by the time their selling is done, whatever it was that they were betting on, well, that's come priced in. And now this is the why of this rebound is going to happen. As money comes in, which is called liquidity in markets, as money comes in, well, it takes a very small amount of money to push these small stocks higher. Remember, we've got a market that is really marked by extremes. We've got a stock like Apple that is worth $2.2 trillion. And the stocks that I'm about to talk to you about today, I mean, they're worth 30, 40 million. The biggest stock is worth, 200 something million dollars. So Apple is not, 10 times bigger, because 200 million, that would be like what, 2 billion. It's not even like 100 times bigger, because that would be 20 billion. Yeah, I mean, it's 1,000 times bigger or more. So, I mean, well, what it does tell you is that the upside, in these companies can be huge. Apple, in its early days, was a small cap company. It was a small company, just like these, with innovative, new technology. And at where we are, these small, innovative, new companies, they're at cheap and low prices. Many of these small companies really, do some of the big work of innovation. Larger companies, when something starts out, it's just big enough for them to be involved in. So that's where small companies really can shine. Also, if you think in terms of demand and supply, and you know that I do, the biggest new audience really, that is there in the markets today, which is the millennial generation and Gen Z. They are coming into their peak earning years. Yeah, I mean, they want to buy these small, innovative, new, cheap companies with low prices. Why? Well, because it represents the future. You'll see when I talk about the three stocks. I mean, but it's not just, just these three stocks. Small stocks have some really phenomenal, world-beating, mind-bending. I mean, really, you'll see these stocks have mind-bending, life-changing tech. We got low stock prices. We got low market capitalizations. Remember, it's not just enough to look at the stock price. You got to look at the market cap. Now, they are high risk. I mean, and I'll tell you what the risks are at the end of the video. They're high potential return. Remember, Apple today, $2.2 trillion stock. Yeah, it's gone through ups and downs. However, you don't need to own a lot to really make a lot of money. And Apple, I'm using that because everybody knows Apple, but you can do that sort of same thing for so many different stocks that had one of these three things, world-beating, mind-bending, life-changing technology. They are speculative, they're risky, and they're life-changing potentially, because, hey, you can make 10 times your money. You could make 100 times your money. In the extreme scenario, Apple-like scenario, Microsoft-like scenario, Salesforce-like scenario, others, I mean, the stock market is filled with incredible successes, and maybe even 1,000 times your money. Before I tell you about the three stocks, hey, I tell you about this too. This is an ad. Just want to make it clear, for my company, ATG Digital Media. If you like ideas like this, stocks like this way of thinking, I call it OGI thinking, opportunity, growth, and innovation. Well, check us out at atgdigital.media. Subscriptions begin at $9.99. Also have a Substack where, hey, subscriptions are free. paulmampilli.substack.com. So check us out. All right. Now on to the actual three world-beating, mind-bending, life-changing small stocks that, in my opinion, given what is going on, in that tweet, which is that small stocks are at a low, big stocks relatively are at a high. If that's the case, in all likelihood, based on my experience, you're going to start to see a major and massive reversal. And these three stocks have really mind-bending, world-beating technology. Stock number one, Momentus. I didn't write the stock name down. Sorry, that's an oversight, just like I mentioned, an oversight. 47-cent stock, representing a tiny, tiny company, $44 million in market capitalization. I mean, Amazon probably makes this like in a couple of seconds. Apple probably makes it in like half a millisecond. But this is a tiny company, but this is a revolutionary company, folks. I mean, absolutely astonishing. truly mind-bending technology. They are pursuing an opportunity in essentially becoming the FedEx of space. In other words, delivering satellites and payloads to different places in space. So they hitch a ride on Falcon 9, which is SpaceX's rocket, and then they push out from that, and then they deliver all these different small little satellites and other objects in space. Kind of like what FedEx and UPS do. You know, they come and they deliver stuff to you. The thing that really brought my attention to Momentus, MNTS ticker symbol, is that their spaceships are powered by water-based plasma propulsion. Yeah, water-based plasma propulsion. Yeah, I mean, they're using water as an energy source. All right. And if you just let your mind travel a little bit and just think that, you know, in the future, we go out to the moon, let's say we go out to Mars, we become a spacefaring nation, spacefaring species and nation, as Elon wants us to be. Well, hey, you know, a water-based plasma propulsion system? I think that might be pretty valuable, right? I'm just saying, right? 44 million. Okay, so near term, the space logistics business. Long term, plasma-based propulsion? Yeah. I told you, mind-bending. All right. Stock number 2. I'm keeping these pretty light. I'm not doing like extensive analysis on this. All of you can go to the internet and Google for these. It's very clear these are very small, very risky, very speculative companies, nonetheless. Mind-bending, life-changing, world-beating. All right, stock number 2, WATT, which is Energous. It's spelled ENERGOUS. And I did a video on this stock earlier, and you can check into that on the link above, where I went into this in a little bit more detail, more or less making really the same kind of case that I'm making for the 3 stocks in this video. So Energous is doing what? Wireless electricity. Right, so right now, like, hey, you know, we've all got our phones. I mean, gosh, we've got a lot more than phones. I mean, I've got a lot of devices, all of which are connected to the wire, connected to your wall with a wire. And Energous is looking to charge all of those devices by wireless electricity. And eventually it would be everything from lights to switches to, you know, kitchen appliances, everything powered by wireless electricity. But long term, they're looking to essentially eliminate, you know, all those wires that go look outside your window. There's just wires and wires. I mean, these have been strung from like 120 years ago, when electricity was first, you know, kind of made into a mass product. And this is a company that is looking to completely revolutionize something very basic, very critical to human life: electricity. Mind-bending, yeah, mind-bending in success mode, absolutely life-changing, absolutely life-changing. I mean, imagine a world, as I put it, without wires, where we still get the benefit of electricity. Imagine your electric car being able to recharge wirelessly. Essentially, you can take any device and flick it on, and it would be powered wirelessly, invisibly, by power. And Energous, 38 million market capitalization. Yeah, it's risky, sounds crazy, sounds wild, but hey, so who would have imagined that we would have a supercomputer in our hands? Who would imagine the technology that we have today? Not so far-fetched. WATT, 44 cent stock, 38 million. Yeah, I mean, wireless electricity, folks. I did tell you, life-changing, mind-bending. All right, final one, stock number 3. Ticker symbol SENS, Senseonics, 60-cent stock. This is the largest company of the 3, represents a $286 million market capitalization. They are pursuing wireless continuous glucose monitoring, which anyone with diabetes, this is something that would be super helpful instead of constantly having to check yourself using a pinprick or something close to that. Instead, you just have a sensor that is embedded into you that transmits to your phone, and in real time and all the time, you can know what your blood glucose level is. So huge benefits for a very large group of people that really have seen very little innovation in their treatments. Diabetes is one of these sort of unspoken about epidemics that has been going on for the last, I'd say, 10, 15 years. And Senseonics has been working on this technology for over a decade. It's beautiful technology, as you can see. And one thing that doing it this way does that it makes it very mobile. It makes it where you get data all the time. And who knows, all that data could really help us with any number of other health conditions. So we are still very much in the days of where we're using technology for people with diabetes that is pretty old, 20, 30, 40, 50 years old. Continuous glucose monitoring, where you just have to change the sensor twice a year. They're working on it eventually being once a year. This is going to be life-changing. It's mind-bending, and it's going to be world-beating. And this is a company that's been around for a while, and it's obviously a much larger market, established market. The diabetes market for devices, treatments is hundreds of billions of dollars. So this is a company that is better known than the previous two. Nonetheless, in success mode, they would dominate this market and they would be a very large company. 2 billion, maybe 5 billion, maybe 10 billion, maybe 20 billion. We don't know. I did say I would talk about the risks because these are small companies, and the three biggest risks of any sort of emerging technology company, new company or small company, is this: that they run out of cash before they really can fulfill on their promise of their technology, their products, and their service. Pretty basic thing, which is that investors stop funding them. They can't get the money to continue. The second one is sort of like obvious, which is that despite it being great technology, it can be too early, or it can just kind of like have the wrong angle. And as a result, there's insufficient market demand for what they are putting out there. And so 5 years later, 10 years later, somebody else comes and is able to figure things out in the right way and capture the market. However, we're at a point in terms of markets where lots of new technologies are breaking. So I think there's sufficient demand for all of the three companies that I mentioned earlier. Finally, bad tactics and strategies. In other words, they just choose bad decisions, and that just kind of ends up, bad news for the company, bad news for the stock, failure. So I would say, hey, just understand that there is risk in these companies, yet in success mode, these could go all the way to the moon. All right, hope you liked this video. Thank you for watching. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. This is Paul saying bye.